let's move into the topic because otherwise we are going to be here forever and I'm not going to get to answer any of your questions. Let me take some coffee. All right. Here's the number one mindset that is holding you back from accomplishing your goals. And I want to tell you now so that you don't give up on 2024, even though we still have 9 months left. You could literally grow an entire human. I know I said that last week. You could grow an entire human in the rest of this calendar year. Are you ready? Progress is not linear. You are not going to make the exact same progress every day, every week, every month. Your progress is going to fluctuate. And we all struggle with this. We think that our progress is going to look like this. It's going to be perfect. We're going to have the same amount of progress every month over the whole year, right? This is just like an arbitrary graph that I made where you had 5 out of 10 in progress every month over the course of the year. But the truth is, it's probably going to look a little bit like this, where it's going to fluctuate, right? This example, this person came out of the gate swinging. They had 8, they had 7 in 8 in January, 7 in February, and then March got a little chaotic. And spring break hit them, sickness hit them, daylight savings is still screwing with them, and their progress in March was really low. But instead of just giving up and saying, oh, well, March was terrible and bad, that's it, I'm done. The rest of the year is over. I'm just going to fail the rest of the year. They worked their way back up. And there are still some fluctuations, right? That first month of summer, June, not so sure about what my goal progress was going to look like that month. And the progress kind of fluctuates. It could also look like this. Maybe January wasn't your month. Maybe you weren't quite ready for the year yet, and your progress in January was really low. And then you started to get a little bit more progress in February and March as you kind of figured things out. And then things will kind of slow down a little bit towards the end of summer. Maybe your kids are home all summer and you're kind of losing steam by July and August, and then you pick it back up when they get back to school. But what's cool about all of this is that all 3 of these average to the same amount of progress over the course of the year. In all 3 of these scenarios, the average progress is 5. So in total, the progress is 60. Again, these are just like arbitrary numbers. I'm not saying like 60 hours. One time I showed this graph somewhere and someone was like, does this mean 60 hours towards my goals? And I was like, no. I just mean like in general, like in progress out of 10, you had a 5 out of 10. Scenario 1 is 5 out of 10 every month over the course of the year. That is probably not going to happen for any single person. Nobody's is going to look like the first graph. Everybody's is going to look like some combination of the bottom 2. And your progress can look very different from somebody else's. But at the end of the year, you could have the exact same amount of progress. The reminder is that it's not linear, is that it is going to fluctuate. And so you cannot let yourself get frustrated when you have one of those lower months and think that you're going to fail over the course of the rest of the year. So let's talk about some tips for getting through this. Okay, I'm going to give you 3 tips for things to think about. Number 1 is to have different options for different days. We talked about this a lot on the call, the community coaching call last night while we were talking about energy. When we think about progress not being linear, the graphs I showed were over the course of the months, right? It also is true over the course of the days. You're going to have days that you're going to make more progress or less progress. So have different options. Instead of being so rigid and saying like, if I don't read 15 minutes a day, every single day, I'm never going to hit my reading goal. Well, what happens if one day things are extra busy, you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, and you find that you only have 5 minutes to read when you normally have 15? Well, then you read for 5 minutes. 5 minutes is better than 0. And then on the flip side, maybe there's a day where everything goes really smoothly and you have some extra time and you find yourself in bed a little bit early and now you have 30 minutes to read. There is no rule in goal setting that says you have to do the exact same thing every day to be successful. Is it beneficial for you to do something every day? Yes, that keeps your momentum going. I've done lots of videos on momentum and how doing something every day is helpful, but it doesn't have to be the same every day. So have different options. It could be very as simple as what I just said. It could be a minute option. It could be I read for 5 minutes at baseline, at minimum. My average goal for average everyday me is 15 minutes, and then above and beyond is something more than that. It could be a actual, like, they're different. When we lived in New York, I used to have different options for tidying up at the end of the day. If you've been around, you know I'm a morning person. I like to get my things done in the morning. By the time we get to the afternoon, I am spent, and the evening even more so. But I still wanted to tidy up a little bit at the end of the day. So my bare bones minimum was my desk. If I could do just anything at the end of the day, it was tidy up my desk. Now, were there days I still didn't even do that? Absolutely. But most days I can handle my desk. Then the next level, or the average me, was my office. Can I just make sure my office is picked up? And now my office in Chicago is much bigger than it was in New York. So that's a little bit more of a stretch nowadays. And then the superhero version of me, the highest level, was the whole apartment. That rarely happened. But if I had the energy, sometimes I was like, let's spend it. Let's tidy up the whole apartment. But ultimately, what I want you to think about is setting a bare bones minimum of like what you can do on your hard days, and then have an average. What am I going to do on my average days? And then you have your superhero you. The issue is that we typically set our habit goals at the superhero version and then get frustrated when we can't do it every day. So have different options. Next, in case this wasn't clear from the graph, is you cannot compare your progress to other people. You cannot compare where your bars are at to somebody else's bar. Somebody else may have had a killer January, and you are sitting here looking at your January and you're like, wow, I did not do as much as they did. You have no idea what was going on. Maybe they thrive in the winter, and so they're able to stay at home and get all these things done. Or maybe they have extra help. Their spouse is a professor that doesn't go back to school until the 20th. And so they're able to help with childcare and they can get all these things done. Like I'm literally just throwing out examples. You have no idea why that person was able to make all that progress. So do not compare the progress you're making to somebody else. It also comes down to priorities. We all have different priorities, and the amount of time that we spend on any given goal is based on our individual priorities and our individual lives. And so because somebody else makes a lot of progress means that they're prioritizing it, and that's awesome for them. But for another person, they may not. That's not a priority for them. There is no right or wrong. There is no good or bad. It is just prioritization and different options. And nobody has your life, nobody has your priorities, and nobody has your goals, your exact goals. So do not compare your progress to other people, especially don't compare it to perfect linear person, because this person doesn't exist. So definitely don't compare it to that person. All right, the last one, number 3. You've got to celebrate your wins. Y'all know I love celebrating wins. We start this call. This is not a call, Laken. This is a live. We start every week with you sharing your wins. I start every community call with them sharing their wins. I am very much we have to celebrate our wins because we're not good at it. We are not good at celebrating our wins. What we also need to do is focus on what we did accomplish. Instead of going back to my goal sheet, right? Instead of going to this and looking at all the things that I didn't do, instead of looking at all the empty spaces and all the not check marks and all the little dots on the daily sections, I want to focus on what I did do. Look at all those check marks. I just clicked on something on my computer. Look at all those tallies. Look at all those numbers. Look at the progress that I did make. Focusing on what you did accomplish is going to give you the oomph to keep going, especially in a scenario like this where January was low and you're like, I need that oomph to move into February, or like when March was low and you need that oomph to move into April. Notice that these aren't zero. Now, if you have a 0 progress month, that happens, right? I very much last year when I was in my first trimester and I could barely function as a person, we were also trying to move and I was still trying to work. There was maybe a month or two where my goal progress was pretty close to 0. My guess though is that it wasn't actually 0. And if I took a second to actually focus on what I did do, I would notice that it was higher than 0, which is why I didn't make any of these months 0. Notice none of them are 0. Some of them are low, but none of them are 0. I want you to focus on what you did do and not the empty space and what you didn't do. So that is what I've got for you today. If you need more mindsets like this, ongoing reminders, if you're part of the community, you've seen those graphs before because I've shared them before. Because I am constantly reminding you of things like this, mindsets like this, where you need that extra that extra reminder to keep going and keep focusing on your goals. Come join the community. It's also a great time if you have not set up your goals for Q2 and or April. The replay from that call is up and you can take the time this weekend to get that all set up. But the link to join the community is in the description box. All right, I'm going to go to the comments over here. It looks sort of like my erratic sleep schedule. Yes, keep showing up. I have high and low energy tasks now and built a lot more buffer time into my schedule. I can always add more, but then I don't start that guilt shame spiral that's so easy to get into. Yes, when I was talking about the different options, that's the struggle, is that if you set your minimum to that highest level, then the days that you can't do that, which is probably often, you are more likely to guilt, shame, and like negative spiral and give up on it, right? And then the buffer time is another big tip here that I do a lot with options and it's harder now that I have a little one, but what I used to do was I had a buffer time built at the end of my day and I would take what I needed with that time. Some days I had all the energy in the world and I worked through all that buffer time. Some days I was spent and I rested through that buffer time. Most days it was some split down the middle, some split of buffer time, of work time and rest time. Would be interesting to see if we have predictable highs and lows somewhat dictated by seasonal changes. Even though I'm in SoCal with pretty moderate weather, I get sad. I'm assuming seasonal, what's it stand for? Seasonal something depression? Somewhat. Absolutely. But I also think the reminder here is that everybody's different. Some people, like as a morning person, I was just talking to my best friend about this yesterday. As a morning person, these first couple of weeks of daylight savings time are tough for me because I was getting up at 6:30 and it was light out. And then all of a sudden I'm getting up at 6:30 and it's dark. And for a couple of weeks, I have to deal with that. And it's not fun. But for people who are evening people, the change, daylight savings, are like seasonal affective disorder. Yeah, that's what it stands for. But for evening people, this change, having that extra hour of daylight at the end of the day, magical. Like it absolutely can just immediately help with their mood. So everybody is different. And so there are some people that I also was talking to somebody yesterday who loves it being cold and can't stand the heat. And so for them, the summer is going to be a tough time. The heat, pretty much no matter where you live, it's warmer in the summer and it is going, I'm talking US. Most of us here in our community are in the US. Those of you in Europe or those of you on the other side of the equator, your situation is going to be different. But in the summer, if you're not a person who thrives in the heat, you're going to struggle and you might be crushing it in the winter when it's chilly. Everybody is different. And so that's why, that's why there's so many scenarios, right? Like everybody's is going to look different based on your life, how you're impacted by, yes, the weather, the seasons, are your kids in school? Are they not in school, etc. I'm also struggling with the darkness in the mornings too. Yeah, it's tough. But then the flip side, the silver lining is we could go for an evening walk as a family when Sam is done with work because it's so light out. Like that's lovely. So it's just like, well, I wish I could just have both. And I can in a little bit when it's summer, when it's truly like give it a couple of weeks and the sunrise will be back down to before I get up and the sunset will still be late and it will be great. I struggle with both because I'm a morning person, but hate when there's no daylight after work, especially as a photographer, I am sure. Yeah, I always used to say the hardest part about the daylight was when I lived in New York, and it would be light when I left the office, and then I would get on the subway to go home, and it would be dark when I got out of the subway. That was the worst. Like I missed that last bit of daylight being underground. That was like my least favorite time of year, was that sunset time. All right. Hopefully that was helpful. Again, some of these reminders, you've probably heard me talk about it before, but it doesn't hurt to hear it again. It doesn't matter what you did in January, February, and March. I know that both of these examples have people making progress in Q1. And maybe you had a really low January, February, and March. And that's okay. You can still make progress the rest of the year. There's still 9 months left.